what's the matter?
Hi there guys. If things look a little bit different in this video, it's because I'm playing with my light settings and trying to figure out what light setting looks the best still, so forgive me if for the next few videos the lighting changes a little bit. I wanted to talk about the key differences between giving people hate and giving people criticism, because these are two things people have a very difficult time accepting online. I think the main issues with hatred and criticism online are that, one, I've seen a lot of people who honestly think they're delivering constructive criticism, but it turns out they go about it the completely wrong way, and then the person they're trying to criticize thinks that they're hating on them, and no change is made. And as far as actual hate goes, when people are trolling someone and they actually are trying to spread hate and get to that person, those people don't seem to know how to respond to that hate and deal with it effectively. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about in today's video. I have touched on the explanation of what real constructive criticism is before on my channel a while back, but it was in relation to very specific things that were happening in the goth community at the time, and today I'm gonna do it as more of a general blanket thing for anybody, not just people in a certain subculture. One of the first things people tend to misunderstand is the fact that you can have a platform of any size and still have to deal with criticism and hate online. People seem to believe that you don't really have to worry about this stuff until you're someone with, 500,000 followers or something, and that's simply not true. Even if all of your accounts are privatized and only your close friends and family can see them, you're still potentially going to be subjected to it, and as soon as you post a single thing online, it has a capability to go viral or has a capability to potentially offend or confuse someone. So as soon as you start posting anything on any social media platform, you had better be ready for anything that's coming your way. Generally speaking, when someone is actively trying to deliver constructive criticism to a creator, it's because in their mind that creator is doing something wrong. Maybe they're doing something, even without meaning it, that could potentially harm someone, whether it be mentally or physically. And the entire point of criticism is you're trying to help that person who's doing something wrong understand what it is they're doing, why it's wrong, and help them change whatever it is that they're doing. And that last bit is what tends to trip people up a lot, I've noticed. I've seen plenty of people on especially Twitter and YouTube, that's where it happens most frequently, find a creator they like, decide they want to deliver some kind of criticism to them, but the way they word it comes off much too vague. And when it comes off vague, it's difficult for the person you're criticizing to understand what it is you want from them. Here's an example. Say that there's a hypothetical YouTuber and they started their channel in 2013 or 2014 and it did really well back then and their views are beginning to drop now. And you, the watcher, have decided you want to help that person. So you go into the comment section and you type, "I liked you better back in 2014 because you were more relatable. I'm unsubscribing now because I don't really like your videos anymore." And then they wonder why the person never gets anything out of that. They either get accused of hating on the person or the person just flat out ignores everything that they said because the wording's too vague. You didn't explain anything that's going on. You might have thought you did, but you didn't. From the point of view of the hypothetical YouTuber, the words that were used in that comment could mean absolutely anything from you liked the specific content they were doing better in 2014 to now, or you liked the fact that they spoke more to their audience like they were friends and less like they were brand ambassadors, or you've simply just outgrown their content. I mean, it could mean really just about anything, so you can't really blame that creator for not knowing what you're talking about. So you're not really offering constructive criticism to the creator, but that is your end goal. So how do you go about doing that if you've been wording things incorrectly? There is very specific structure to a good piece of criticism, and you need to try your best to follow as many of the steps as possible, because some of the steps are crucial, and if you don't go about following them in the correct way, you could end up doing a lot more harm than good in terms of confusing the person instead of helping them. One of the most difficult aspects of delivering criticism for a lot of people is the fact that no matter how upset you are with the person for saying or doing something you didn't like, you can't go into immediate keyboard warrior mode. You can't just immediately respond to anything that they said. That is what causes all of these problems online and all of these cyber fights, because if you're upset and you immediately just act on that emotion and say what's on your mind, what you mean may not be what actually comes out on the screen. You might end up getting so hyped up in your own emotions that the way you word your intended criticism comes off as an attack and causes that person to go on the defense, or you could just completely come off a different way than you meant to. It could come off like you are accusing them of something when you're really not. So the first step is to just slow down. Give it 24 hours. That's always been my personal rule for myself. When someone does something that I think is not right, I take a screenshot of whatever they said, or if it's a video, I save it someplace so I can return to it later. And for 24 hours, I return to it a good few times and I dissect everything the person said. And when I'm dissecting it, what I'm doing is I'm attempting to find out whether or not there's multiple potential ways what they said or did could be taken. Generally, there is. And it's only fair when you're criticizing, since criticism is very akin to an argument. It's much more fair and right to give that person the benefit of the doubt and to try to understand their point of view before you go off about your own point of view. If you haven't taken the time to understand that person and what they're trying to say, then you're going to make mistakes in your own argument and you're not going to get your point across because they're just going to tune you out. Now let's return to our hypothetical YouTuber and commenter. So that person was basically trying to say that they preferred that person's content in 2014 and that's why they're unsubscribing. Well, dissect what's going on in your head. What exactly has changed? Think about the videos that person used to make that you did enjoy. Why did you enjoy them? And from then to now, what about them has changed? Once you kind of figure all that out, you can completely switch up the wording of what you're trying to comment. So we return to what you said before. It's a little bit vague and confusing. Let's instead switch it with something like, I've been watching you since 2014 and I first subscribed to you because you were very raw and honest when you spoke to your audience. It really felt like we were sitting in the room with you like a real friend. I'm very happy that you have been so successful on your channel and you deserve every brand deal that you have received. However, many of us have been losing interest in unsubscribing lately because you no longer speak in a way that sounds like you are talking to a friend. Your language has become more brand friendly and as a result you are losing some of your personality of your channel. Why don't you do a No Filter Wednesday where you don't monetize your video and you instead just speak exactly like you used to? If you're worried about money, you can always post it on Patreon first and collect money before posting it on YouTube. See why this is so much better? You're essentially still saying exactly what was in your mind, but the wording comes off less aggressive, less like you're ready to just fight this person over changing. Instead, you're saying, I've observed through time what changed on your channel and exactly where you went wrong. And not only did you point out exactly what's happening to their channel and reasons why, you've also done the number one most important part of criticism. You've offered a solution. It's not criticism if you don't offer the person potential solutions on how to change whatever it is that they're doing. You're just yelling at them and accusing them of things if you don't do that. Think back to your own life, and any time as a child that your parent or a teacher or someone older than you who you viewed in some way as being above you was upset with you and they didn't explain to you how to fix something. Like, let's say that you're 8 years old and you're first learning how to load the dishwasher and you completely load it the wrong way and nothing is washed and you have wasted a bunch of energy and water. And your parent gets mad at you and goes off about you didn't load it correctly, now the electric bill's going to be higher and the water bill's going to be higher because I have to do a whole secondary load, and that's all they say to you. Now you're just upset because they got upset with you, and you're terrified to try to do it again now because you have no idea how to fix what you did before. All you know is you did it wrong, but you don't know what to do about that. So no matter what you are criticizing, make sure you offer at least one solution for potential change. Although I tend to think it's better to offer between 2 and 3 because then they feel like they have a choice in the matter. You also want to make sure that you sound like you're speaking to a friend. I don't care if you hate this person. I don't care if they are now the bane of your existence. Everyone deserves some degree of respect. And online anonymity kind of turns us into douchebags sometimes. So it's kind of a golden rule thing. Think about if someone was talking to you the way that you just wrote it, before you hit send or post, look back at how you worded everything in your comment and think, if somebody wrote this to me, would I want to punch them in the face? Or would I want to listen to them and soak up what they've said to me? If you want to punch them in the face for it, probably want to reword things in a less nasty manner. And apart from just having the wording not come across too strong, again, even if you're really upset with this person and this is the last thing you're ever planning on saying to them in your life, please don't reach for that low-hanging fruit. Never say anything about the way they look. I've seen this happen a lot with people with a bigger platform, and it's so horrible. I don't care if I can't stand the person and I never look at any of their content. I don't think anybody, regardless of what nasty mistakes they've made, I don't think anyone deserves to be told, oh, I, decided that I'm unsubscribing or I'm unfollowing you because this and that. And also, the way you do your eyebrows is really ugly now. You look stupid, or you've gained a lot of weight, by the way. You might want to start going to the gym. Stuff like that is horrible. And guess what? Even if everything else in your comment to them was perfect and you were non-aggressive with your speech and you made sure to truly break down everything they did wrong and offer solutions, even if you did everything else right, the second you insult that person's appearance or anything about them, they can't change their orientation, their religious beliefs, anything like that that's really, really personal to them, as soon as you've said that, you've lost them, and you've lost a lot of people who may have backed you and helped you in whatever you're trying to change. Everyone's now going to just view you as this nasty, hateful person who just wants to tear people down. Apart from it just being nasty, you don't know why that person's appearance may have changed when it comes to appearance stuff, or why they may have switched religious beliefs, or why they may have recently come out and not done it before. You generally only see maybe 10% of a person online. What we say when we're talking to a camera or what we post on Twitter or on Instagram is not the whole of us. It's just a tiny piece of us that exists in that specific moment in time. Someone may have gained weight because they're going through a really bad health problem like thyroid cancer, or they may be struggling with mental illness or a death in the family or something, and it really threw them off their game. Someone may have switched religious beliefs because the religion they were a part of before was doing a lot of harm to them personally, and the one they're in now is helping them. You don't know, and that person doesn't owe you anything that they are not fully willing to say themselves. People can go on YouTube and just be caricatures of themselves. I mean, for all you know, people that you've been watching for years, what you see online might not be them at all. They might be completely different, and that's been a character this entire time, and that's okay. So just really try not to grasp for all that nastiness when you're trying to make your point. And something that kind of goes along with that is stop making assumptions about people online. When someone says or does something nasty, no matter what degree of nasty it is, don't assume you know why they did it. Give that person a chance to explain it themselves. Now, it is okay if you're not satisfied with their explanation. That happens. Sometimes people's apologies aren't very good online, as we've seen, and sometimes they are definitely making excuses, and by all means, you're within your rights to get annoyed by them or frustrated when that happens. People deserve an explanation when someone they like does something really hurtful, and likewise, that person deserves to explain why it happened. Sometimes they may have just completely misspoke and not realized what they said could come off badly. Sometimes they might have been going through something really, really bad in their life. And sometimes, not as often, but it has happened, something can happen involving abusive relationships. I was with someone who was very abusive, who actually hacked my Facebook at one point when I wasn't doing what they wanted in the relationship, and they sent nasty messages to all of my friends, and I actually lost a couple of friends because they had studied the way I talked to people for so long. They managed to convince these people it was me talking, and no matter how much I tried to explain to them that it really hadn't been me, and I even tried to show them it wasn't even my IP address it was sent from, I couldn't get them to believe me. So, I mean, that's a little extreme. Luckily, that doesn't happen as often, but I just wanted to show you, you know, there's a lot of different reasons why someone could have said or done something bad. If they do explain why it happened and you think it's not a satisfactory reason, that's fine. If it's better for you to unfollow that person and not be a part of that person anymore, that's okay. You need to put your own mental health first. Now that we've discussed criticism, I'm gonna flip sides a little bit and discuss hate, but we kind of covered the fact that criticism, if delivered incorrectly, can be misconstrued as hatred. Right now, I'm going to be talking about if you are someone who's receiving hate online, this is how you should respond to it. There are different levels of online hate, and that means there's different levels of responses you can give towards it. I have never been someone who subscribes to the idea of don't feed the trolls, because it's a blanket statement. It's very generalized and it doesn't work for every situation. If someone's just showing up on all of your social media, one of these people that no matter how much you block them, they just come back with a new account just saying, your hair looks stupid, or you're ugly, or you're dumb, and they're honestly just trolling you and being nasty for no reason, yeah, don't feed the troll. Just ignore the hell out of them. No, ignoring them won't make them go away. They'll keep doing it into forever. But it won't affect you as much if you just ignore it and don't engage and start this big fight. The reason they're writing these little petty things about you is they're hoping you'll respond to it, and that way they can twist whatever you say in response to it to say, look, I told you guys this person is bad. So whenever someone says something really nasty or tries to twist my words, I just ignore the hell out of them if it's something that's a really low degree. However, when it gets a little worse than that, it's actually more harmful to ignore it and to not respond to it. If someone is completely flipping everything you're saying on your channel to try to make it look like you are a bad person and it's actually negatively affecting you online and causing a bunch of people to show up in your inbox and spam you with nasty things, or if someone is actually harassing you and threatening you in some way, don't ignore that. If someone's threatening you, try to get a hold of whoever owns the platform or customer service of some kind. Show them proof of what's going on. Make sure you take screenshots right away, because on some platforms, if the recipient deletes something, it's gone forever. So make sure you grab it immediately, even though it's not fun to look at, I know, but you need to keep it. I have seen people make this mistake in the past where they didn't screenshot right away, it went away later, and then customer service can't help them anymore. Send it to customer service, be like, look, this person's been doing this for like a year now, it's really starting to impact my life, can you please get rid of them? And they'll do all they can to help you. If it's someone who's just doing stuff kind of behind your back, like say that you have Instagram and YouTube but you don't have a Twitter, and this is one of those really cowardly people who is taking your content, putting it on Twitter since you're not on that platform, and saying, look, when this person said this and this, it actually means this, and that's why I'm proving that they're like sexist or something nasty like that, and they're trying to go on the attack where you can't defend yourself. This is where you need to get a little bit craftier and kind of think like the hater. Again, you don't want to just leave this alone and ignore it, because if it gets too bad, it can cause a lot of problems for you, and you don't want to potentially lose your job if being online is your job, or have a bunch of people think something about you that isn't true just because you didn't defend yourself. This is when it's a good idea to collect yourself, have either you yourself or some of the people that are loyal to you go and find all the evidence you can of this person doing this stuff to you, and then you want to make a response. Now, just like with criticism, you have to be really careful with how you craft your response to this, because if you just come off like you're this petulant, upset, whiny person who's just like, they're being mean to me, you guys should go attack them, that's not going to help you any. Facts and logic, guys. People can't dispute facts and logic because they know if they do, they'll look stupid. You gotta just catch them with the facts. So collect all that evidence, put it in a video, or if you're someone who doesn't like to be on camera, put it in a post and say, look guys, you can look right this second. This has come from multiple sources. I have absolute definitive proof that this person's been doing this stuff. It links back to this account. I don't want you sending hate to them or anything, but I do want you to mass report them for harassment, because they've been doing this a long time and they're only doing it on this platform because they know I don't have it. And then I hope this never happens to you, but it has happened to people, especially once they surpass that 500,000 hump. If it's getting so bad with haters that people are actually doxing you, they're giving out personal information like your phone number, your address, your friends and family's addresses, or they're having people come to your house or your apartment, please get law enforcement involved. Don't worry about them thinking, oh, you're just a YouTuber, this isn't important. People, on average, are starting to understand more these days that social media is a real job and that people's lives can become endangered by it as well. Just explain to them. You don't have to go into detail on like you being a YouTuber or, you know, an influencer on Instagram or anything. Just tell law enforcement, there's a person who's been harassing me online a lot lately and they're outside. Please help me. They've shown up to my house like this many times or that many times. If someone is repeatedly doxing you, again, get a hold of the platform. They'll usually be banned for that. I believe that on every social media platform, it's against the rules to dox people. And if they just continue going to other avenues to dox you, get a lawyer involved. Get a lawyer. If you're afraid of expenses, you can always ask the people who are fans of you on your social media to please help you with a GoFundMe or something. That's happened in the past, and it tends to work out if you are in the right and people really want to help you. And last but not least, Regardless of what degree of hate you may be getting online, I know it's impossible to listen to anyone who says, just don't let it get to you. It's the same thing as telling someone with depression, just don't think about what's making you sad. It's silly. You can't necessarily just not let it bother you, but what you can do is when you're getting any kind of hate online, make sure the moment it starts to bother you, you immediately do something that makes you happy. No matter what, it doesn't matter how silly it is, it doesn't matter if it's just playing a video game or going out to the movies or going out and going shopping. Doesn't matter. Whatever always makes you happy, no matter how often you're doing it, do that the second the hate starts to get to you. That will help you learn to mentally combat it and switch the negatives into a positive. You're basically trying to train your brain to see the nicer side of whatever's going on at the time. I hope this video was helpful to some of you. Like I said, it really doesn't matter how big or small your platform is. As soon as you start posting stuff online, things are just gonna happen sometimes. So, as always, do something that makes you happy today, no matter what anyone else thinks about it, and I'll see all of you again soon.